Hello everyone, I am Talisa with Talisa Aquarist, and today I'm going to be giving you guys a tour of my fish room. It's been a while since I've done one. There's been some changes since the last one, and there's going to be some changes happening to it here pretty soon. So I just wanted to show you guys what it looks like now before I change things up again. Starting off with my goldfish pond, this is where I have my baby Ranchu goldfish that I bought from Luke's Goldies. There's some down here. As you can see, they've gotten a lot bigger. They're easier to spot. That one right there is a chunk. Some of them are still pretty small. All 6 of them are still alive. You can't see all 6 right here, but all 6 of them are still alive and doing well. I feel like they've probably already outgrown this pond. But I don't necessarily want to set up a big goldfish tank right now because we are supposed to be moving at some point this year. I'm actually debating right now whether or not I should rehome the goldfish and just not have goldfish until we're at a stage in our lives where we can just be settled down and I don't have to worry about moving a large goldfish tank from place to place. But I don't know. Also, I don't know if you guys already noticed this, but I have like really gross bugs all over the lily, the pond lily, and my water lettuce. Like, they're killing off my water lettuce, they're killing off my pond lily. I've never seen this before. They're not on the monstera. The monstera is clean. I'm seriously wondering if I should just cut off all of the lily pads and pull out all the water lettuce and throw them all away. You know, still keep the lily in here, but just cut off all the leaves because it's only on the leaves that are like above the surface. And it is killing them off, and I don't know what they are. They're not anywhere else in my house, thankfully, but they look like mites or lice or something. I don't know. It's really gross. I guess this is what can happen when you bring nature indoors, you know? If you know what these gross little bugs are, please let me know in the comments. And moving on to these aquariums are still sitting in my living room. This is my 10-gallon fish tank with my purple endlers in here. I have 1 female and 2 males. I know that's not a good male to female ratio, but that's what I have for now. Female endlers are hard to find. I have fry in here somewhere. Let's see if we can spot any of it. There's quite a bit of fry in here, actually. Oh, here's one. As you can see, there's also plenty of hair algae in here. Up top, I have this sweet potato vine. I absolutely love it. It's going a little bit crazy. I had a sweet potato in here, and it started rotting, which almost killed the fish. Thankfully, I realized it and got it taken out of the tank before any fish or shrimp died. But I pulled some of the vines off and just stuck them in the water to see if they would continue growing independently of the sweet potato, and they have. You can see these roots are going crazy back here. Oh, there's another little fry. I think they're just so cute. I also have some Bloody Mary Neocaridina shrimp in here. They are one of my favorite shrimp. They're so vibrant. They really pop against all these red plants. And I just love these purple endlers. I think they are quite possibly my favorite live bear that I've had so far. They're just really neat to watch. I love that the females have no color. Like, she's kind of opaque, you know? It just looks so much more natural and beautiful. And then the males are just a neat light purple color. They're sparring over the female right now. But I like this tank, minus all the hair algae. And moving on, we have this 6.5-gallon cube tank. It has some wild type Neocaridina shrimp in it, some nerite snails. I don't know if I'll be able to spot any of the shrimp because Monet, my betta fish, just terrorizes them. I think he eats all the fry and then he just terrorizes the adults, so they kind of stay in hiding. I don't think he eats the adults. Maybe he's eaten a few, I don't know. But there are still some adult shrimp in here. And he's just stunning, I think. Now that he's coming down in the light, you can get a better look at him. Look at how gorgeous he is. Absolutely beautiful. He is one of the betta fish that I got from Moonlight Bettas. She's actually going out of business, and she may still have some betta fish available on her website at a very discounted price if you want to go check that out. But yeah, there's not much going on in this tank. It's not very scaped, as you can see. I just kind of threw some stuff together. And this scape does not do him justice. Hopefully in the future I can have him in a nicely scaped tank that does do him justice. This tank just looks a little crazy. He's pretty friendly. He likes coming up and saying hi. If you guys remember, I did not name Monet. I just said that whatever name in my comment section got the most votes, that would be his name. And the name Monet was the one that got the most votes. If you don't know who he's named after, he is named after a famous artist. He's famous for painting images of like ponds and just very natural looking but colorful pieces of art. And I think that the name suits him well. It's not a name I never would have even thought of. So I think it's kind of neat that I have a betta fish that has a unique name that's something I never would have thought of, but I think it's a cool name too. There's my Moonlight Betta token that he came with. He's just beautiful. He is one of my favorite betta fish. And now we are in the fish room. I have all these tanks in here. I will start with this one because I absolutely love this tank. I call this my happy tank. Sorry, the lighting is, there we go. Let's see if it's not so bright. It's kind of bright in the video, but I call this my happy tank because the colors in it are just happy. I have this light pink quartz stone and all the vibrant green plants. I did just trim back this guppy grass because it was just like overtaking all this area up here. So I trimmed it back and it will come in even thicker, I'm sure. I also have some yellow shrimp in here. That's another reason why I call it my happy tank, is because there's like green and pink and yellow in here, and those are just happy colors. At least in my opinion, they are. I just love this tank. I liked it a little more before I trimmed it, but I know that the guppy grass will come back in. You know, trimming plants is necessary in planted aquariums. And let me show you over here. See all this guppy grass right here in the 20-gallon? That's what I trimmed. That's how long it was, all on the surface of this tank. I just love watching shrimp. This right here is a 3-gallon tank that I got from PetSmart. When I seen it, I thought it was just too cute to not buy. And I just picked some happy colors and some happy colored shrimp for it. And yeah, it is actually one of my favorite tanks. I also have some pothos coming out of the top. The tank comes with a little filter, and I just put this little pothos down in the filter. Yeah, it's just a fun little tank. And over here is my purple haze guppy tank, formerly known as the tank of death, because I could not keep plants alive in here. I couldn't figure out why they were dying. And then some of you guys commented, it is because of my light. I had a lot of duckweed growing up here. There's still plenty, but I pulled a lot of it out. And that was restricting the light. But because the tank is deeper and the light isn't very bright in the beginning, all my plants that needed more light to survive died. And all my plants that needed low light survived. You know, you can see they're not thriving well, except for this tiger lotus back here. That's thriving. But the rest of them, you know, they're not like really thriving, but they're not dying. And I could get another light for the tank, but I just added some more low light plants, and we'll see how it does. There are a lot of purple haze guppies in here. I love watching the fry swim around. Some of the fry is just starting to get their colors in. And, you know, this tank is nowhere near planted as much as I would like it to be. But that's because a lot of the stem plants died off, and then I added some low light plants, and they're still just kind of trying to get established. And sitting up above that, I have this 20-gallon tank. It looks horrible right now because, like this tank down here, it has the same type of light. They're the aquarium lights, and I think these tanks are just deep enough, and they had enough of floating plants on the top restricting light that they took a hard hit. A lot of the plants died. You can see the plants that are living are plants that do not need very much light. I have a couple of male endlers in here, and Rainy, my female betta fish. Her fins are torn up. If you watched my last video that I posted, it was about keeping betta fish together, and you would have seen that I had her in the tank with a male and female betta fish, and they started breeding, and they were chasing her away, and she wouldn't leave them alone. So she got her fins torn. Once I seen what was happening, I removed her from the tank, and no infection is settling into her fins. They're healing up good, so that's good, but she does look pretty tattered and sad. As you can see, she's healthy. She has lots of energy. She swims around a lot. I think she enjoyed the 40-gallon tank because it had more space. The 20-gallon tank is fine, though. She'll be just fine in here. But yeah, this tank is kind of going through an ugly phase right now. I feel like these tanks would benefit from having filters in them just to help with like the mold, help pull some tannins out of the water. All the plants that died just created a lot of mold, and so it's kind of a mess, but I think I'm just gonna let it be. You know, as you can see, the fish are healthy, they're happy. If I added a filter, it would be just for aesthetic purposes, and I guess it's not really that important to me to have them looking in tip-top shape. As long as the fish are healthy and my plants aren't constantly dying, I think we're good. And then up here, I have this 2.5-gallon tank. Well, I have this 5.5-gallon tank right here. It's empty. I was kind of messing around with it with some hardscape and just came to the realization this hardscape is much too large for a 5.5-gallon tank. I think it would look better in a 10-gallon tank. Like, it would still be the main focal point of the 10-gallon, but it wouldn't be huge. Anyhow, moving on. This is my 2.5-gallon tank. It is planted with pearlweed and rotala. It has a pothos up here up top. This light is kind of obnoxious. I'm not a huge fan of it, but it's a cheap light to clip on. And this is marble in here. Sorry for all the reflections. I'm doing this in the evening, so there's less reflections, but, you know, there's still some. This is marble. He's kind of taken a downturn. He is still eating, but his swimming abilities have worsened. He has a swimming disability because of he has like a spinal deformity. His spine is curved too much, and so he just struggles to swim to the surface. Hence all the plants in the small tank. He can kind of lay in these plants up at the surface to get air. And there is some hair algae starting to grow back there. I think he hasn't been eating all of his food that I put in his tank. I feed him 3 times a week. And I think he's just started eating less. He's getting skinnier. He's weaker. So I'm trying, like, because he's still eating and getting around some, and he always comes out to say hi to me, you know, I haven't made the decision to euthanize him yet, but I am considering it, sadly. He's lived with me for several months. It hasn't been a year yet, but he has been with me for several months. And he has had some quality of life, but that is starting to wane. So, you know, it's just one of the hard things about fish keeping. You have to make hard decisions like that occasionally. Over here, I just realized this tank light shut off while I was talking. I'm going to just turn it back on, I guess, and reset the timer tomorrow. There we go. I got the light back on. Here is Kai, my male betta fish. He is tending to his bubble nest that I have up underneath here. If you want to, oh, right there it is. If you want to know more about this, go watch my last video. I believe it's titled, Can Betta Fish, or Do Betta Fish, let me think. What is it titled? It's my last one, and he's on the cover of it, right? But I think it's called, Can Betta Fish Actually Live Together, or something like that, something along those lines. It shouldn't be too hard to find. But this is my 40-gallon fish tank. It is heavily planted. I have a breeding pair of betta fish in here, Kai and Starfish. I have a corridor catfish. I have 4 neon tetras and a male guppy living in here. A lot of the plants that you see are actually roots from this water lettuce. This water lettuce started from like one plant and it has just taken off. There's a lot of duckweed in here. You can see it's just like a thick mat of floating plants, which restricts the light. So I have this light. The timer is set for 12 hours a day on the brightest setting it can go. This is a higher light, by the way. So the brightest setting it can go, and there's still no algae in this tank because the light is so restricted. However, it's not so restricted that the plants down below can't grow. You can see this crypt is doing great. Even this pearlweed down here is doing good, and pearlweed does like more light, so that's good. I have some dwarf sage back here. It's also doing good. I have a lot of stem plants in here, like some rotala that's fighting its way through these roots. I would trim these roots. However, I have baby betta fish living in this tank, and I don't want to disrupt it right now. I just kind of want to see how many fry can survive. So, yeah, I'm kind of just letting it be a jungle because it's very beneficial to the fish that are living in here. And down below, I have my 3 5.5-gallon tanks. If you remember, I set them up to be shrimp tanks. However, I had betta fish, so I didn't add shrimp to them yet. I was just going to add shrimp later. I'm thinking that I don't need more than like 1 or 2 shrimp tanks. And I already have the 3-gallon shrimp tank that I showed you earlier, you know, my happy tank. So I'm thinking I only need 1 5.5-gallon tank for shrimp. The light is very dim right now. I have this light set on the 24/7 setting. So in the evening, it just goes dimmer and dimmer until it shuts off. So it will be shutting off here in a couple hours. This tank right here is just a mess. This is Skipper, my male betta fish. There's no shrimp in here because he ate them all. And it's kind of a mess. When I uprooted some plants here in the front of the tank so that I could see into the tank, it got a lot of organics into the water column and just kind of created a mess. Here's Finnegan. Let's see if we can zoom in on him. He's beautiful. It's kind of grainy because of how dark it is, but I think you can still see how beautiful he looks. And in here is my favorite betta fish, Finley. Oh, he swam up here. He's my favorite. He's just such a chill guy. He's super sweet. He's friendly and inquisitive. He doesn't eat the shrimp. He may eat the shrimplets, but he doesn't eat my adult shrimp. He leaves them alone. Let's see if he'll come down here again so I can show him off to you guys a little bit better. But, you know, he's not my most beautiful betta fish, but he is the best tempered, I guess. I really like him. There, he's going down. You can see he's a bright blue with some red on the ends of his fins. His fins are scarred because I had attempted to breed him to a female, and he's so mellow that the female ended up attacking him instead, and he got his fins torn up some. They've healed in as much as they're going to. I think they'll probably just look like that permanently from scarring. And last, but certainly not least, is Squishy, my axolotl. Her tank looks kind of awful right now. There's some algae going on, even though she just has like one small light that's pretty dim, so I'm not sure why there's this much algae. I think it's probably just from all of the nutrients in the water column because I don't have sand for those nutrients to kind of sift down into. The reason I don't have sand in this tank is because when I set it up, I was planning on getting a baby axolotl, and they're not supposed to be kept on sand. So I did a bare bottom tank, and then I ended up getting an adult axolotl, which was not planned, and that was squishy. And I just never added sand because I wanted to upgrade her tank. I figured a 20-gallon long was a great size for a baby axolotl. And then I got squishy and realized, you know, a 20-gallon long, like, it's workable. You know, I could work with it. I could add more plants so that she just had more stimulation. I could maybe add some fish to the tank and help with that. However, I would prefer she just have a larger tank. And because the fish room is just kind of, I don't know, I'm trying to decide, like, do I really want to bring all these tanks with me when I move? Everything's sort of up in the air. We haven't had any offers on our place yet, so I don't know, like, we don't know when we'll be moving, right? So I'm just trying to kind of make decisions, but I don't really know where we'll end up at, what size of house we'll have. If the landlord will be okay with larger tanks or if they'll only want smaller tanks, you know, just stuff like that. So I haven't set up a permanent tank for her yet. Now I am planning to do so regardless. I'm planning to do so within a week or two. So that may be my next video coming out, is me setting up a somewhat larger tank. I think I'll just upgrade her to a 29-gallon. I already have the tank and the stand. And I also have sand and driftwood and stuff like that. I would just need to go buy some plants. So, you know, in the near future, I think I will be upgrading her to a 29-gallon tank. And I know that's not much of an upgrade for her, but, you know, it's 9 more gallons. It is a little bit bigger. It will have some sand in it to help with extra filtration. I got her a new fan. This is not the new fan. This is the old fan. This just is like a little, I don't know. I'm just nervous that it's going to like unclip. It's really sturdy, but I'm nervous it will like unclip and fall in for who knows what reason. So I got a fan that's actually for aquariums. And yeah, I'm excited to get her 29-gallon tank set up. Some of my tanks actually are for sale right now. And so I'm kind of trying to like move some things around in the fish room, and I want her tank to go where I have a different tank sitting currently. I'm not going to tell you what all of my tanks are for sale or what I'm doing, how many tanks I'll have. That is coming out in a future video. So my next video will either be me setting up Squishy's new fish tank or me talking about my plans for the future regarding my fish tanks. So far, I've shown you guys 11 fish tanks, and I had 13, but I've sold 2 of them. I've already sold them, but I did take some video footage of them before I sold them, so I'm going to show those to you now. These are my 2 3-gallon shrimp bowls. I had Bloody Mary Neocaridina shrimp in them, and, you know, while I thought they looked neat, I didn't like them enough to keep them and move them to a new house with me. Plus, I already have multiple other tanks with lots of shrimp in them. I don't need that many shrimp tanks, especially for the same color of shrimp. So I decided to just sell them. And yeah, and I will be selling others before we move. I have 11, and I would like to get that number smaller and more manageable for moving, and just something that hopefully a landlord would be more likely to approve of. But like I said, that is a video, that will be a video coming out soon of its own, right? I hope you guys enjoyed this tour of my fish room, and thank you so much for watching.